Before I go into my speech, I just want to place on record my appreciation of NASFAN and Number Super for your continued leadership in ensuring that you remain a very strong force in the economy, as well as your leadership in mobilizing this event. I place on record our appreciation. Our two super funds would indicate to each and every one of you, we live in a land full of opportunities, and I just want to, from the outset, impress on those of you who are here as leaders of your respective organizations with the pulses of your investment funds at your fingertip. Look into the stories of our own two super funds in our country on how they've emerged into being a combined portfolio of almost around $5 billion US dollar plus. That emergence started coincidentally with a reform. One of my predecessors, the late PM Marape, put into our super fund sector and our finance sector in year 2000. And no government since then. There have been two other prime ministers before me, but we are a nation of consistent policies that are good, remain fixed. And one of those good policies that emerged in the turn of this millennium was a reform on our super funds. And two prime ministers before me, the late Minister Hon, as well as the one right before me, Minister Hon, both entrenched the good of that policy. My government continues to entrench that, and we will make it even firmer. The independence and functionality of our financial sector, as well as our super funds. And their growth over the last 20 years is a testament to the stability of public policy my country has. And I just want to say, you are sitting amongst friends. As you stay here, work here in the next 1 or 2 days, may you also look into PNG as a good place for investment of your members' fund. PNG and Pacific have come through many challenges. As small economies, we live in the midst of many challenges. COVID-19, for instance, has indicated to all of us that the import of challenges from around the world does have its toll on small economies. Small economies, the exposure to shocks and challenges like, for instance, COVID-19 induced global economic contraction. IMF recently told us that the contraction of the global economy was quite substantial. The World Bank, ADB, and all financial institutions and experts do point to that contraction. Pacific Island, we also felt quite immensely the contraction that took place as a result of COVID-19. Today, we continue to feel the impact of the Ukraine war, for instance. In PNG, the importation of inflation as a result of COVID-19, and then the war in Ukraine continues to impinge on the way we survive and exist. However, government, knowing that we are the biggest spinner of liquidity into the economy, we got to work. We never sat back and complained. Starting 2020, we restructured our budget. We cut down our expenditure by 1 billion kina. We refocused on priority areas, and we went into a path towards sustainable debt and maintaining our deficit to hopefully come back to a balanced budget in the next within the next 5 years. And we worked on a program that has a 10 to 13-year window for a good environment of sustainable economy that translates into those who operate in the economy, continue work, function, flourish. And government used our cash position. Government used our budgets as a tool to maintain stimulus in the economy in the last 3 years, which was quite tough. COVID-19 induced shutdown. We faced our elections in 2022. That has a lot of activity. Of course, the business gain also, but sometimes the uncertainty that permeates society in the face of election. But also the Ukraine war. And government knowing that we must be the spender in the economy in these tough times, we went about spending, and not just ordinary spending, but more importantly, spending on key enablers in our society. Yesterday I came back from Wewak. It's a 1.5 hour flight from Port Moresby. In case those of you who come from outside think that we're a small country, our country is bigger than Great Britain by landmass. Our country is bigger than Japan by landmass. Our country is bigger than New Zealand by landmass. The furthest you fly to in our country is about 2 hours of flight to Manus, to Bougainville, and yesterday just flying over land 1.5 hours to Wewak. I came back from that town of ours. We opened modern state-of-art health facility. That facility, and as I was opening it, I did make mention that it was constructed around the time the world was shutting down. As a classical example of government intervention in the construction space, when the world shut down, we looked inward, and domestically we ramp up government spending on key enablers in the economy. And I made a key statement also yesterday: health and economy go hand in hand. They're the two sides of the same coin. But the principle is, as I speak in my opening lines, government in Papua New Guinea, and I know as I speak at government levels in the region, we are sensitive to the effect of contraction in our regional economy or domestic economy, as well as the global economy. We live today, as I speak, in tough times. And right from outset, let me impress on each and every one of you, government being complicit to tough times we live in, government's fiscal policy, working with in the instance in PNG, we will work with our central bank's monetary policy. They have a distinct relationship, but nonetheless complementary. We will work to ensure that spending, work happening in our country, taking the economy and the country to travel out of these down times our economies are traveling through. And I know as you come from your own nations, you have close rapport with your own governments. I do encourage that rapport must exist because whether you like it or not, government is the biggest spender. And government spending has an influence on the way the economy projects going forward. The last 4 years under my government, for instance, through pure government spending alone, or through mostly government spending, we spent over 77 billion kina into the economy. That's a net result of 2019 supplementary budget I presided over, 2020 budget, 2021 budget, and 2022 budget. That spent into the economy has a benefit to the benefactor of government fundings. That is even bigger than one LNG project construction. That is even bigger than 2 LNG project construction. Government has a crucial role to play in the economy, not just in the regulatory environment, but more importantly, in the generation of actual liquidity to infuse in the economy when it is in the down times. And I just want to encourage from our front, those of you who come from abroad, work with your government. Don't look at your governments with disdain. Contribute to positive policy inputs. Contribute your recommendations with alternate solutions so that your governments and government in a region, collectively and individually, we could strengthen our economies and work side by side so that ultimately your members with our people can stand to improve from the financial security that we represent. For Papua New Guinea, I just want to inform each and every one of you there are many interesting things that happened. I'd like to report to you. For instance, in the last 2 or 3 years, it wasn't just doom and gloom for us. As I said earlier, when we looked outward and the world was shutting in, we had to look inward. And based on our own inward looking, which fortunately for Papua New Guinea, good connectivity we had with bilateral nations and multilateral institutions closer to us, they were able to keep and support government functioning, especially in the element of financing the deficit component of our budget. And we were able to sail through. And as we worked inward, Some of you would know, and I just want to indicate, for instance, Telstra coming into the Pacific, more importantly to the big PNG market, and Telstra buying into or buying out Digicel, the biggest telco operator we have in Papua New Guinea. This is an indication of the availability of market and the opportunity for investment to be returned to investor. And so Telstra came into a PNG market and bought out. This is an indication, as I said, of investment opportunities that are prevalent here. And on this note, I just want to also appreciate in our own reforms we're doing in our state-owned enterprises. We did offer to super funds possibility of partnership, a joint venture partnership with an offload of equity in our telecom company to one or both of our super funds. They are going in and having a look in the books of our telecom, and they currently, one if not all of them, are looking at closing out a deal with buying out the stake of our own telecom company. This is an indication to all of you that Papua New Guinea, and I'd like to speak also for the region. The Pacific region is not a bad place to exist locally and also together as we work side by side for the benefit of our people. Australia, the biggest economy in our region, New Zealand, the second biggest economy in our region, PNG, the third biggest economy in our region, and of course put together the combined wealth of the greater Pacific is, in my view, a pool of resource that could be harnessed to benefit individually and collectively all of us in the Blue Pacific. From a political perspective, we work in rapport. We are together. We see ourselves as a family of nations. We don't see us individually. When we go out to global forums, whether it's a climate change forum, whether it's a forestry forum, or fisheries forum, or even at the United Nations Forum, or for, in the instance of Papua New Guinea, when Papua New Guinea, Australia, and New Zealand are present in the Asia-Pacific Economic meetings, APEC meetings, we speak, not from an individual perspective, but we also speak collectively from a Pacific perspective. And hence, it is good that you are here. In the context of PNG, I want to inform all of you, our own individual treaties and relationship go far into the world, so to speak. We have good bilateral investment and tax treaties outside of Australia and New Zealand. We have with China, we have with Germany, we have with Japan, Malaysia, the United Kingdom. Of course, you know, we have many our own free trade arrangements in the Pacific, especially closer to home, the Melanesian spearhead nations. Papua New Guinea have double tax treaties with nations like Australia, Canada, China, Fiji, Germany, Indonesia, South Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Singapore, United Kingdom. Our own access to the APEC market is a huge opportunity for combined accessibility of the super fund who choose to invest together or even on their own, PNG's network to key regional, sub-regional, and global country-to-country treaty levels or investment organizations is a place where the super funds, all of you, can partner or can mobilize to get into this space. Recognizing the importance of investments, more importantly, foreign direct investments, we did set up a special ministry. Minister Hon will join us later today. Will speak on this. We realize the potential we have domestically. Our resource base is substantial. Many see us from the mining and petroleum sector perspective, but we are bigger than just mining and petroleum nation. We have fisheries, we have forestry, we have land for agriculture, as I was saying earlier. Our land availability is far bigger than Japan, as I said, bigger than New Zealand, bigger than UK, just to contextualize the resource potential we have in our country. If you put in the 10 million people in the Philippines, for instance, they could easily fit into the 460,000 square kilometers of land here, because Philippines, 110 million of them just live in 300,000 square kilometers of land. So PNG is bigger. Our agricultural potential remains big. Our fisheries and forestry. And as I arrived into office, a major focus was for us to add value in those resources, and we're moving in a big way in the downstream processing sector. Minister Marape's focus conversation would be on the special economic zone that he will deliberate on. Our special economic zones are interventions we're making to ensure we mobilize investment in the downstream processing sector of our resources, and we will step in a big way at the very earliest in both fisheries and forestry. These areas of investment will have substantial yield or dividend return to the investors. And I want to point all of you to opportunities that are available in PNG. As you go back, please maintain continual dialogue with your superfund counterparts and colleagues here. They will give you the satisfactory assessment of possible investment opportunities in our country. We're working with the enablers just to consolidate on our focus to move into a diversified economic base and not just exporting of raw producers, especially oil and gas dependent as we've been in the last 20 years. We are diversifying going forward, and we're moving into downstream as a nation. And key investments, for instance, the last, I think year, our port operator went and sourced from a landing facility in Australia. And I just want to appreciate the PIIF program. If anyone from the Australian High Commission is here, they've given us soft landing combination with grant. And we've now mobilized over 621 million Australian dollars to make substantial investment in 7 major ports in our country that will anchor export, import, and for us in our conversation on downstream processing and export-based economy, this over 1 billion investment is an indication of our focus into that space. We're working to ensure our education and health sector is stepped up so that the population is educated and healthy to carry our economy. Some see big population in the negative. I see big population in the positive, so long as they're educated and they're productive. This year we will confirm on our census and indicate to us where PNG's population is. But for you brothers and sisters from the Pacific, we are a big domestic market. In fact, the biggest domestic or in-country market in the entire Pacific is in PNG. As I work and the government works in having an educated population, but not just educated, but more importantly, educated with appropriate skill to work in our economy. We are also working for a healthy population. And as I said earlier, we came back from opening Wiwek Hospital yesterday. This is part of our plan to open 22 provincial and regional modern hospitals. This will anchor a healthy and educated population within the next 5, 10, 15 years. And as we go forward, Papua New Guinea's economy, based on what we're doing, we envisage by the turn of this decade, we want to go past a 200 billion in economy. And I want to give you all assurance, our history as a nation is not that bad. We've traveled from under 5 billion in economy in 1975 to an economy that is now at 113 billion as per IMF's assessment. When I took over from Mr. O'Neill in 2018-19, our economy was 79 billion economy, saved under 80 billion. Last 4 years, using deficit budgeting as a strategic tool to invest in the economy, plow back in the economy, we have grown our economy by 30 billion plus in the last 3 years. You all have to ask BSP, Without a new mining project coming on board, PSP declared the highest ever dividend they could declare last year, over 1 billion in a dividend. That did not come from any place. It came from existing industry players and economy players, as well as government spending in the economy. So one thing I'm indicating to you, looking back retrospectively and prospectively, we are a growth country. We've grown in the last 47 years, and prospectively, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from today, our economy stands to double in its size, and especially the backdrop of us now funding in 2 major LNG projects and smaller stranded gas fields to be mobilized. And we're also bringing in program 9 to be reopened. We're extending the life of Octary possibly to go beyond the 10 years we have, and we're working to crossover in Wafi-Gogo project. This alone will give PNG economy a substantial boost, but more importantly for me, as I said earlier, to focus on downstream processing and a diversified economic base will anchor stability in the economy going forward. Just to give you all a safety and security issue, our intervention in law and order is a work in progress for us. We invested substantially in our policing and our judiciary, the whole law and justice sector in last year's budget and this year's budget, and the police commissioner gives me assurance he's working. Our CJ and a team from judiciary always assures me that they are working. And to top it up, my government, and something that I'm proud of and I'm happy, we have now set up the Independent Commission Against Corruption to keep our economy functioning without any influence of corruption in the country. ICAC is set up. I'm pleased to announce at this juncture 3 highly competent commissioner and 2 deputy commissioners, or assistant deputy commissioners, I think. They're coming from Australia and New Zealand. They will take up posts very, very soon. The contracts have been approved. Very soon they'll come in. The process of selecting the Independent Commission Against Corruption commissioners and assistant commissioners was facilitated by our Transparency International. And to make ICAC work to fight corruption, we've worked in the subsidiary laws that will give teeth to ICAC. For instance, the amendment to the Process of Crime Act that would look into the assets and incomes of those who hold public office, and even in the private sector. We want this country to be a country of rule of law. Everyone earn their keep, live your life, and allow the business to grow without any influence of corruption in our country. So this is a work in progress we are doing in tandem, just to assist you all investors here, that if you're looking around to invest your members' fund, PNG is a place for investment, as I'm trying to preach. We don't discriminate on foreign investors. Any foreign investors that come in here, you ask them, they have a healthy return on their investment. We are a rule-based society, and you come in, and if you come in legally and work within the laws of our land, you're sure to make a return on investment as you function as a business, operate as a business in our country. I just want to conclude by encouraging every one of you to exchange your business cards. As a government, we will continue to work with our two super funds to ensure that their independence and functionality is maintained, and for them to be a major player in our own domestic economy going forward. But I just want to conclude by asking all of you, the power of combined balance sheet is far greater than individual balance sheets. Mobilize your resources together. We don't have to go out to the multilaterals outside. We can come back to you. Governments will exist into time. You could be lending into key infrastructures. You could assist your own governments. You could assist businesses. You could own banks. You could partner banks. And you look at PNG's example, our super funds have stake in a couple of our local banks, BSP, Kina Bank. And so these are areas where you could combine, move into, and look at the investment opportunities you have in the region. Papua New Guinea, in our focus to diversify economy and strengthen our economy going forward, we also offer, as the big brother to the Pacific nations, our place as an investment hub, investment destination. Wish you all a successful conversations and deliberations. May the outcome go towards strengthening the gains for the members you represent, who are people that we serve. Thank you very much. God bless each and everyone.